So the opportunities for growth require me to explain something fundamental for you. You have to understand the processes of structural transformation of society. Economic structural transformation just means you have to understand, even as young people, how a society transforms over a period of 30, 40, 50, 60 years from a basically rural agrarian society to a more manufacturing, urban industrial society. That transformation, it doesn't happen by accident. And that transformation means all the social and cultural systems also change. In our case, it's just happening haphazardly because we are not going through structural transformation consciously. When we transform from a predominantly rural agrarian society to a predominantly urban industrial society, every system changes. The educational system has to change and become more industrial. The family system changes so that it is more nucleated. You can go, the legal systems change from dealing mostly with rural family and community issues to commercial issues. But you'll see today that our legal system, as an example, is squarely designed on Roman Dutch law, which is for a fully industrialized society, when we are still really a rural urban society. So what is the solution to a middle income trap? Well, it's massification of the industrial processes. And I want you to grasp this so that you will then understand what your role is, both in government and in private sector. Industrialization is not just building factories. Industrialization is a mindset shift for the whole society. It's a massification. Please stay on that slide. It's a massification agenda because industrialization is the massification of the production system. Please go back to that slide. Mass production of raw materials. Number two, mass processing of raw materials as close as possible to where the mass production of raw material is. And then mass consumption of our own manufactured goods and services. These three processes you must master. These processes usually take a whole day to explain so that you can see where you fit in and where the opportunities are, because we should not be mass producing raw materials like our grains, our oilseeds, our herbs, our meats, and then manufacture them long distances away. They should be manufactured in villages, in townships, in small towns. The big cities grow because the small towns and the villages are growing and manufacturing. We should not be manufacturing trinkets in Harare and snack foods. Put Maputi, this should be manufactured in villages. This is how you grow an industrial society. Next slide, please. So what this means is that you now have to understand the three stages of an industrial process so that you quickly understand that your opportunities as young people is not confined to ICT and all the nice things about marketing and so on. No, you are in three stages, and we're going to go through these sectors in a minute. But stage number one are what I call the proto-industries. This is how the Asian tigers have grown. The Asian tigers have a sector they call proto-industries. Here in Africa, we call it informal sector. There's no informal sector in Asia. It's proto-industries. It's part of government policy to grow that so-called informal sector. Why? Because they are saying proto-industry is just manufacturing without a factory, but it's a serious process of starting the industrialization of society. Because as you grow the proto-industries in the garages and so on, there comes small machines start coming in to do some food processing, leatherware, textile. Those small machines is what we now call light industries. It's only when light industries grow in the thousands and thousands of small machines in the rural areas, in the small towns, that the demand for heavy industry comes. Heavy industry is the production of the means of production. steel industry only grows because you have a huge light industry. But in Africa, not many countries have a huge light industry or a large heavy industry. Even our biggest economies in Africa, like South Africa, Egypt, and Nigeria, they're all in a middle income trap. They are not growing fast. The majority of people are still unemployed. And more importantly, to know that they are still in a middle income trap. I'll give you the example of South Africa. 57 million people in South Africa, only 7 million pay tax. And 55% of South Africans cannot afford 3 meals a day. So it doesn't matter, like Brazil, you export to the rest of Africa and the rest of the world, you export wine everywhere, you are still in a middle income trap.